So you're going to thread the machine, and can you talk about threading the machine as you do it?
Well, sure, but I think, we have to first say that we're celebrating the 70th anniversary
Okay.
of video recording.
Well, let's do that a little later.
Okay, but that's the reason we have this machine here.
That's fine.
Normally we wouldn't necessarily have a machine like this. Well, we had this here once before, 10 years ago, because we were celebrating the 60th anniversary of video recording. And this machine is harder to thread than a studio machine because its whole goal in life is to be compact. As a location recorder, and therefore a studio machine, its whole goal in life might be, well, easier to use. So it all depends on what you're trying to do.
Is there a slot on that one reel for it to fold into, or you just got to get some slack?
I just got to wrap it on itself. No.
Okay. Get some friction on it.
And of course, the reels actually have a kind of rubber coating on the inside.
And that grabs it.
Yeah, but not when they're 50 years old.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. So yes, I have confirmed that it is grabbed. I have the right amount of tension. I can close the cover on the audio head, and we're ready to go. Well, these are the controls for this machine. This is the electronics pack that goes with the transport, and processing electronics is in here, along with a little fish tank pump to create vacuum to hold the tape into the guide. And the first thing we have to do is get the head up to speed.
Okay.
The head runs at 14,000 RPM. In a studio machine, the head would have high pressure air to act as a bearing for the motor. Since there's generally no high pressure air available in an aircraft,
right,
or on most production locations, this head has a ball bearing, but that's actually a major failure point, which is why in the studio machines they went to air bearing. It was because of the bearing failure as much as anything else. So now we're ready to push play and start the machine. Now we're playing back the recording.
Okay.
The machine was originally designed primarily as a recorder,
right,
a location recorder, which means the playback quality is rudimentary. It's designed as a confidence playback, so you know you have something.
Okay.
Which is a major advantage over motion picture film, which you shoot your motion picture film and it has to go out and be developed before you know you have anything. All right, so now we're playing back.
Right, okay.
The machine itself was designed primarily as a recorder to be used on location. This one is a variation of a military machine that was originally designed for use in aircraft.
Okay.
As a recorder, playback has to be only rudimentary. It has to be just enough that you know that you've made a proper recording, that you have what you thought you recorded, which is, again, one of the advantages of videotape over motion picture film. When you shoot motion picture film, you don't really know if you have anything until the film has gone out and been developed,
right,
which is probably the next day at best that you know you've got anything. If you're shooting inexpensive news film, maybe you'd know in a couple of hours after the station ran the film through the processor, but in high-level production, no, you're going to know the next day if you've got anything. Here with videotape, you can rewind it, play it back, know that you've at least gotten something. Playback quality might not be perfect, but you know there's something on the tape.
A confidence video.
Confidence video. Yep. Machine has some special boards to stabilize the color so we can actually see an image in color. It isn't what we'd call broadcast quality playback. A studio machine would do more things to stabilize the video, but we've stabilized the color and we can see we have a good color recording. This recording that we're watching now was made on a machine identical to this almost 50 years ago, maybe, almost 50 years ago. We have a man on a boat with a machine like this with a two-piece camera that probably weighed about 50 pounds. Well, on his shoulder it might have been 25. Everything's running on batteries, and we're shooting a sailboat from a powerboat. You know, not exactly the most stable thing in the world, shooting a boat from a boat, but
It's so good.
and this yields a pretty good quality image, again, for something that was done 50 years ago on videotape. Oh, he had to change batteries. So the image goes, there you go. Now he's got a fresh battery in the camera. All right, okay, we have a fresh scene. So this machine was derived from a military machine. So you can see that it's a fairly sturdy, heavy-duty design. It has a cover that closes so the whole thing can be enclosed. And it was originally designed for use in aircraft. So it's pretty rugged. It can be closed and sealed. We have the supply reel of tape, the take-up reel of tape, but the real workhorse is here. This is a rotating head assembly. There are 4 heads on the wheel. It scans across the width of the tape. The wheel makes a perfectly vertical transition of the tape. The only diagonal occurs because the tape is moving. Right? So it isn't a helical or a slant track. It's only slanted to the fact that the tape is actually moving. Why do we do this? Well, because of the old adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And it turns out that video, roughly 1,000 times as much information as audio, roughly. 100 to 1,000, but it's somewhere in that range. Now, there's a certain density of information that one can record on magnetic tape like this. The faster the tape moves, the higher the rate of information to maintain the same density. Now, originally, when people tried to record video on tape, they tried moving the tape faster and faster and faster. And indeed, early experiments, we recorded on big reels of tape, moving it over 1,000 inches per second. Did it work? Yeah. Was it practical? No. Was it ever used? I've been told it was. And we've been told that NBC actually used it on air once. Now, what this does by having a rotating wheel and moving the head, as opposed to moving the tape faster, we're getting an effective speed of 1,400 inches per second with this head cutting across the width of the tape. That's why you do it. So we have 1,400 inches per second of writing speed, 4 heads. There's always one in contact with the tape. As one leaves the bottom, there's another one coming into the top. So there's always a head on the tape. We can find a place to switch, because when we play back, we have to switch from one to the next at the proper time. As one leaves, we switch to the next one that's coming in. And each head produces a small part of the picture. If things are really nicely aligned on playback, we can't tell that. If the playback suffers in quality, yeah, we can tell that right away. You know, in the industry, it was called banding. You see bands of picture. The parts of the machine, if we look at it, again, this is the central part. The rotating head, the tape is curved perfectly to match the diameter of the wheel. The tape is held into that curve by a vacuum. And in a big studio machine, there'd be a fairly large vacuum pump. In this portable machine, it's a modified fish tank air pump. And it's just enough vacuum to hold that tape into that curve. The parts of the mechanism as the tape comes off, over here we have a tension sensor that maintains the tension so it doesn't spill. Right. You have to maintain a certain back tension, a roller, and this will erase, if we are reusing a previously recorded tape. Another either nice feature or bad feature of magnetic recording, unlike film, is it can be erased. Now, it's good if it means you can reuse the medium, you can reuse the tape. It's bad because over the years people have erased some really meaningful content, maybe by mistake, maybe on purpose. The tape actually was quite expensive, especially in the early days, and people would indeed reuse it, maybe without caution. Our video head, audio's over here. Audio erase, audio record, and the audio is recorded along the length of the tape with a little tiny strip on the top. So there's audio on the top. On the bottom side, we record a series of pulses called control track. It was always called control track. Why do we do that? Well, it's not a big deal when we're recording. It's a big deal if we're playing back. Because when we play back, as we are now, when the head goes across the tape, it actually has to fall exactly on the previously recorded track. If we get between tracks, the picture turns to mush. We have to be exactly centered on the track. In that pulse that's recorded along the bottom, if we get it to play back at the exact right time, coordinated with the rotation of the head, we will indeed be exactly on the track. So that control track is on the bottom, the audio is on the top. And then we get over here, and here is our roller that is controlling the speed of the tape. And again, because we're in playback, it has to be carefully controlled to make sure that we're tracking properly. We're playing back exactly on the track. So there's actually a significant servo system controlling this roller. When we're recording, not such a big deal, just constant speed. When we're playing back, yeah, we got to be careful. Another tension sensor and a take-up reel.
Okay. Okay.
So we want to start by talking about the supply reel.
Reel.
So this is our supply of videotape, and we're coming to the end. A tension sensor
Yes.
to keep just enough back tension so that we can pull the tape and not have it flop around. A roller, which is a ball bearing. This is not a stationary guide. This is rotating inside on very nice ball bearings. The video erase head.
Okay.
And this will erase the full width of the tape. This machine does not have an editing facility, so when you erase a tape, you've erased the tape. Video was recorded here by the 4 rotating heads. That's why it's called quarterplex. We record across the width of the tape. We get an effective writing speed, at the speed of the head going over the tape, of about 1,400 inches per second. Tape is moving at 15 inches per second. So that gives us the ratio of 100 to 1. There are 4 heads, and when we're playing back, there are 4 preamplifiers and 4 amplifiers to amplify the signal. When we're recording, we have record amplifiers to drive the heads, 2 here, 2 there, for the 4 heads. And this keeps track of timing pulses. So this keeps track of 2 timing pulses. One is monitoring the rotation of the wheel. There's a little pulse generated every time this rotates. The other one is there's another track recorded along the bottom of the tape called control track.
Okay.
And we use it when we play back, so that when we scan down the tape with the head, we're centered exactly over the previously recorded track. So this board processes both of those.
Okay.
Next we move down here to the audio. Audio erase, audio record play. It's just like a normal, used to be normal, tape recorder. It's recorded along the length of the tape, just like this was a tape recorder running at 15 inches per second.
Mono or stereo?
Originally mono. Later, much later, not highly used, they took the existing area and split it in 2 tracks for stereo. Not a lot of those around. It was incorporated into machines in the 1970s because there was no stereo television until maybe 1978 or so. It was a while before there was stereo television. I can't tell you the exact year. Television was always monaural.
Okay.
Get past here, two very nice ball bearing rotating rollers and the cap stand that's actually moving the tape. This is a rubber roller. Hopefully we get enough friction on the tape that we can pull it, and we are now, I see, running at the end of our reel because our take-up reel is getting full and our supply reel is getting empty.
And it looks like we can stop.
And we can stop. Let me go stop because we need to rewind.